Hello, very good evening. Welcome to the programme. Well, really, there's only one topic that's going to occupy us between now and 5 to 8, and that's the snooker career of Adam Duffy. I jest. That's part of what we're going to talk about. He's qualified, not by dint just of his snooker career to be in the studio tonight, but he's a Sheffield Wednesday supporter, which is highly convenient because I've also got, guess what, a big Blade supporter in more ways than one in the studio as well. It's the topic of the city, the Steel City Derby tomorrow night at Bramall Lane. Now, the one thing I'm not going to say to anybody is, even though many people can take it maybe just a little bit too seriously, is that it's only a game, because it ain't only a game, and people quite rightly do take it seriously. Maybe the degrees to which they take it seriously, that can, maybe the degree can go a little bit far at times. But having said all that, despite the seriousness, it's an entertainment. It's a sport. It's the entertainment business. And these two guys joining me tonight are in the entertainment business. First of all, and he tells me it's his first ever TV interview. I cannot believe that. Russ Dennett, ex of the Human League.
Indeed. Hi.
Good evening. You've played to bigger crowds than tonight. I know you have.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
You have 100,000 even in America. You were telling
At one time, yeah.
Yeah, and yet you're petrified because this is the first time you've sat down on a studio sofa. Yeah?
Yeah, unless it's a police interview.
That's a great start. Now, this man has done lots of interviews, and I hope there are many, many more to come, because Adam Duffy, Sheffield-based snooker pro, we're really rooting for you, Adam, to be the first from Sheffield to actually qualify for the World Finals at the Crucible.
Fingers crossed. Let's do it this year.
Which is what, 100 yards from here, from this studio where we're sitting tonight.
To right, is yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very close indeed. I almost pointed you up there when I met you. Met you outside. That's the direction, and your career is going in that direction as well. In part two, we're going to talk in some depth about your snooker career and where you're at. And you had a famous victory over Ding Junhui. I think most people remember that 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was a massive shock. One of the biggest in the UK. Yeah.
Was it a shock to you?
I said it was a shock in the interview, but I felt good, when I was playing. I was looking forward to, obviously, the tournament itself, so there was no surprise to me.
You need that inner confidence, okay? So you're going to tell me that it'll be no surprise to you if Sheffield Wednesday, your team, win at Bramall Lane tomorrow night?
That's a different story. We are useless.
I'm saying nothing.
Okay, Russ Dennett, Big Blade. Now, Russell's here by dint of the fact that, as you may know, some of you, that around about late September, October, he decided that he would make a record based on the victory at Hillsborough of Sheffield United in September by 4-2. It's Bouncing Day by the Wilder Bunch, okay, to the tune of, well, we're going to hear it. I think this is the first time it's actually been aired, is it?
Quite possibly. I believe so. I think everybody in Sheffield just decided not to, on the off chance of offending half the city.
Well, I've taken a huge risk tonight, but I'm balancing it off by the fact I was hoping Paul Pashley, Big Al's fan, soloist, famous soloist from Sheffield and crooner, could be in the studio. I don't think he's made it unless he sort of walks in here in the next few minutes. But we have got Paul singing a certain song, Hi Ho Sheffield Wednesday, okay, to balance everything off, and that will legitimise the fact that we're going to hear. And I'm a bit worried, the fact that it's not been aired anywhere first,
There's no swearing on it. No swearing on it.
Okay.
Very polite version.
Is it? Right.
Yeah, it's very kind.
So there's a pessimist over there, and he's not the only one, because walking to the studio tonight, I was approached by a guy in the street who came up and said, I'm an Owls fan, and we're going to lose. We're going to lose tomorrow. That's all he said. And there's quite a bit of that about, and that makes me think maybe it's not as cut and dried as people think it is.
I think it's obviously they're just going on the season itself at the minute. Obviously, Carlos has, in the last, obviously, couple of months he was there, I don't think he had a clue what he was doing. I mean, I spoke to a couple of players who I know, and they said it was obviously a bit different playing under me, didn't really shout him as much. And I think that's what you need in football, obviously. Remember Neil Warnock back in the day, absolutely torturing players when they had a bad game. It's part of football. And I think hopefully this, I can't even pronounce his name, can you?
Okay, well, I met him for the first time today. Jos Luhukai is the new manager, Dutchman. Most of his career's been in Germany, but he's had a successful track record. Bit of a disciplinarian, so they say. Talks quietly, but I think there's a quiet strength there.
Yeah, hopefully he can come in and play attacking football. I think that's all you want to see at Hillsborough, obviously. fans get behind you if you're trying. And obviously, it come to a stage where players didn't look bothered about playing for the team in a way. And I think, obviously, it's part of their fault, but obviously the manager's got a big part to play as well, and maybe the chairman.
Well, I think there's been a real shift this week, and I hear the word discipline from the chairman when he announced the appointment of Jos Luhukai, and I've heard from Jos himself, that the intensity and mentality of players is really, really important to him. And so, but he's rumoured to be quite a defensive coach. So
We'll see what
we're all in the dark, aren't we, as
Yeah.
to where it's going. But certainly George Boyd, talking to him today, was saying, yeah, we've had double sessions this week, which we're not used to. And it's been tougher. The training's been harder. There's been a lot more work on defensive tightness. Maybe that's a clue to how they'll approach the game. You must be confident though, Russ. Come on, you must be confident for this game.
Yeah, confidence goes out the window when it's a derby. I mean, on paper, we look like a better team at the moment. Chris has done an amazing job of uniting the entire club, really. It all comes down, I think it comes down to really Sheffield chairman, Sheffield manager, Sheffield captain. You know, we've kind of bred this Sheffield bubble, if you like. You know, the Blades have become a team that's built around Sheffield. We have a lot of, well, let's say we don't have a lot of foreign players in the team, I've noticed. I think Carter Vickers is maybe.
Yeah, Carter Vickers,
he might be
he's
the
on
one.
loan.
Yeah,
and he's on loan.
Wilder seems to believe in this very localised beliefs, and it's just all about grit, determination. We don't have a lot of money, as you well know, and he just goes and, you know, scours the lower leagues, finds the good players, and just breeds this mentality of winning into them. You know, you look at the team, and 4 or 5 of the players in there have been captain.
I think it's
another
more.
Club. Is
I
it
think
more
it's
than
6
that?
or 7 or 8,
6,
even
7,
8. Yeah. And you know, Ryan Leonard, for instance, has come in this week from Southend again. Ticks that box. He's been Player of the Year 3 times at Southend. So clearly the characters of the players, and despite the fact that it's based on hard work and grit, not half playing some good football as well.
Football.
So
yeah, that's the mix, isn't it? Because you've got the likes of unfortunately Coots now injured, who just came on leaps and bounds as a player under Chris, and then you've got Fleck. You know, Kieran Freeman had a smashing season last season. Baldup's coming for him this season and is doing a great job. And Jack O'Connell, another great ball player. We just seem to be hitting the right time to be playing, you know, Wednesday, and we've just sort of recovered from a little blip.
yeah.
So yeah,
I'm just on air, mate. I'll give you a call very shortly. It's one of my employers here. Cheers, David. I'll give you a call in about 15 minutes. Cheers. Yeah, it was a call I couldn't. It was a call I couldn't not take, if I put it like this, from a major broadcaster in Britain. So I'm sorry about breaking in like that. What we're going to do actually is last week. You've got to have these things in, because it was during part 2 last week that I first heard the name Jos Luhukai. And had I not looked at my phone while James Gregg was doing his roundup, we'd have gone blissfully on to the end of the programme and come off and seen all this speculation about this guy. As it was, we were able to talk about
what
it
have you just found
immediately.
out now, what have you just found out? You just found out someone's been sold before the derby.
Yeah. Right, so it's like a party political, because very shortly now, Blades fans who haven't heard this song, and I'll probably be castigated for it, because you've had some stick, even from Blades supporters, about this Bouncing Day song, which I find unbelievable. It's all good fun. We're going to hear it shortly, but I'm going to have to wrap it around very, very cleverly, okay, in order to get away with it. So, from a few weeks ago, I think it was about October time, Sheffield Wednesday's 150th birthday party took place at Ponds Forge in Sheffield. I really enjoyed that occasion, went along, and courtesy of Paul Pashley, this was one of the highlights. and sweet there from Paul Pashley. We'll hear a reprise of that a bit later on, and Ron Atkinson gets in on the act. We'll hear that later. But in a couple of minutes' time, I hope that's allowed me and given me an excuse to play the Bouncing Day song. Meantime, Adam, prospects. I've got a few facts and figures written down here. I'm not quite sure how up-to-date Wikipedia is. Snooker pro since, what, 2011? Around about that time? Current ranking, it says 94 on Wikipedia. Might be a bit higher than that, you reckon?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, 30 centuries in your career. A highest break of 139.
Yeah.
Your highest break is?
24, I think.
15.
It might be less than 24, I might be fibbing.
You were close to qualifying for the Crucible. You've been close to qualifying for the Crucible. In fact, lost in agonising circumstances.
10-8, yeah.
10-8. But you famously beat Ding Junhui. That was in 2015 in the UK Championship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just shows you what you can do. Crucible this year?
I'd like to think so, yeah. Every match I go into, I try and feel confident, obviously. Every player now is just, it's a different standard compared to obviously 20 years ago when they were drinking 6 pints before a game.
Yeah, good old days.
The days of Bill Werbenuk, that wasn't 6 pints, that was 36 pints.
I think once he had 40 before a game.
I think he did.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it's about 10 for his breakfast. And the next 30, obviously, I don't know how he's managed to do
How
that.
did he do that?
He tried to do it as a tax dodge, didn't he?
He did. Well,
he claimed that the beer was the reason he played so well. So could he have it taken off his tax?
It was on prescription because he was on beta blockers or something to calm his nerves or something.
Yeah.
So what would you do? Would you have a couple before a game or even during a game or no?
Never have. I think I've had one drink before in a local league match, but I never would in a professional.
No.
There's too much at stake. There's too much money to be won.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't know how you're going to perform when you've had a drink.
No, you don't. I think you had a drink before you performed the Bouncing Day song.
I've not had a drink for 18 months.
Have you not?
No.
17 months. I've not drank alcohol for 17 months.
I'll end this conversation now.
Yeah.
My wife challenged me to a dry January, and I said, well, this just proves one thing. You're always right. I can't do it. No. So, yeah. Anyway, now then, prepare yourselves. You might have some earmuffs somewhere.
Where are they?
You might have a microphone somewhere to sing along to.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm
We're
not
going to have a few
embarrass myself.
a few red and white highlights from the events of Hillsborough in September, and a certain song now.
Not long ago in Sheffield, so the evening started, say, wildest boy child David Brooks was born on Derby Day. Mark now here, United States, you scored 2 goals today, but we will sing forevermore because of Bouncing Day. Fleck put a perma in the net, it really was abuse. We were only minutes in, and the Wednesday crowd was used. Walk down here, United States, you scored 2 goals today, but we will sing forevermore because of Bouncing Day.
Free kick touched to Fleck, who shoots and scores. It's the Blades who stun the home crowd. Going ahead after only 3 minutes in the Steel City derby. Stevens with a hopeful ball forward. And he finds Clark, who's through the middle. Only Westford to beat. Slot past him and it's a goal.
When Wednesday scored their second goal, the Owls began to bounce. But then United broke away and Mark James Duffy pounced. When we played
breaking free on the right, gets into the area. Van Aert can give him chase. Duffy takes it past him, and again, and shoots, and scores! What a superb strike from Mark Duffy. The tightest of angles, fires past Westwood, the blades back in front, 3-2. Brooks dinks the ball forward, looking for Clark, who gets between two defenders. He's still on goal, slips it past Westwood, and he scores! It's Clark with his second goal of the game against his old club. Sheffield United heading for victory now in this Steel City derby. They lead by 4 goals to 2.
Clark now here, United sing. You scored 2 goals today, and we will sing forevermore because of Bouncing Day. Clark now here, United sing. You did us proud.
There we are. We've lost all of our Sheffield Wednesday audience, sadly. But if you do stick around, there'll be another burst of fire Silver Lining in a minute. That was Bouncing Day by the Wilder Bunch, led by our friend here, Russ Dennett, ex of Human League.
Bouncing Day.